In a paradox that has gripped India's economy, private sector profits have surged to a 15-year high. Yet, for millions of workers, the story on the ground remains starkly different. Salaries, especially in the corporate sector, have shown little to no growth, leading to growing concerns about the health of household incomes and consumer demand. A recent survey by the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry revealed that compounded annual wage growth across 6 key sectors between 2019 and 2023 ranged from a dismal 0.8% in the engineering, manufacturing, process and infrastructure sector to a modest 5.4% in FMCG. The banking, financial services and insurance sector, that is the BFSI, saw wage growth of just 2.8%, while the IT sector fared slightly better at 4%. The July-September quarter saw a sharp slump in India's GDP growth, registering only 5.4% economic growth, sparking alarms among policymakers. Experts say one key factor behind this slowdown is the meager wage growth, which pales in comparison to the impressive four-fold growth in corporate profits over the last 4 years. Chief Economic Advisor Dr. Nageshwaran has not shied away from addressing the issue. The Indian Express has reported that, referring to the FICCI Quest report, the CEA has urged corporate India to introspect and consider revising wage structures to align with inflation and rising living costs. Earlier in July, during a press conference, Nageshwaran did raise this issue.
Corporate profitability has gone up from 5.3 lakh crores in FY20 to 20.6 lakh crores in FY23. That's almost 4 times in a space of 3 years, including financial sector. If I exclude the financial sector, you see the compensation to employees, which usually is a function of 2 variables. One is the amount of hiring you do and the amount of wage growth you give. And that has not correspondingly grown at the same pace.
This call for introspection is critical, given that real income or wages adjusted for inflation has seen negligible or even negative growth. With retail inflation averaging at around 5.7% over the past 5 years, workers in many sectors are effectively earning less than they did pre-pandemic. Congress has taken the government to task over this glaring disparity. Congress leader Jairam Ramesh has criticized the government's economic policies, which he claims prioritize the corporate tax cuts and monopolistic gains over the needs of the salaried middle class and the poor. Ramesh argues that stimulating demand requires bold moves, such as tax relief for middle class and direct income support to vulnerable sections, not just policies that enrich large corporations. The Indian Express reported that government sources acknowledged the problem. Weak income levels are cited as one of the reasons for subdued urban consumption. While post-COVID pent-up demand offered a temporary boost, slower wage growth has dampened hopes of a full economic recovery to pre-pandemic levels. As India's private sector celebrates record-breaking profits, the question looms large. Will these gains ever trickle down to the millions whose hard work fuels these successes? For more news and updates, keep watching Live Mint.